Absolutely, positively nothing. Now, I'm trying to make you understand that when you look at books like When Work Disappears, I was talking to some brothers about this book, and I told them that it would be nice to read this book, but if you haven't read this book, then you probably won't understand what's in this book. You see, this is Black Metropolis by St. Clair Drake and Horace Caton. And you know, this is like, you got to be in grammar school to deal with this book. And then you move a little further into Dark Ghetto, you know, and this is by Kenneth Clark. And this brother researched these two books real well and came up with When Work Disappears. Added a few little things to it, but this is by Dr. William Julius Wilson. It's a good book, but what I'm trying to make you understand is that what he's talking about is how black people in 1996, see, that was copyrighted in 1996. He's trying to make you understand how black people got into the shape they in 1996, when the prediction back in the 50s and the 40s and even the 60s and the 70s was that, oh, everything is going to be all right. We are really moving forward at a rapid pace. He didn't tell them that they were moving at a rapid pace right off of a cliff. And that's what's happening. And that's what people claim they don't understand. People who build themselves as educators. I happen to have a friend in the house who is an educator who knows better. But he is quite different and unique from most educators. See, most educators with their PhDs and doctor's degrees basically don't know anything about anything. What they really know is what white folks want them to know that make white folks remain at the top and black folks remain at the bottom. And they're proud to come before you and tell you that, Nahaz, I have my PhD and 60 added hours. I said, but what are you doing? What is it that you can show me that makes me know that having a PhD means something to the group? Oh, but I live in Country Club Hills. I live in Flossmoor. I don't care where you live. If the people that you claim you helping are still in the dark ghetto and you escaped because you was willing to do things that most people wouldn't want to do, and therefore you wound up with a PhD and you was able to get out. And that's what they all talk about. I want to get out of here, so I'm going to go to school. Well, if that's your reason for going to school, I hope you don't go. I want people to go to school so that they can learn something that will be beneficial to the group. I want them to understand when they read the paper what's going on. The other day we had a brother who sounded like he just fell off of the turnip truck as it came through town, or at least was, you know, on the truck full of pumpkins, because he was interviewing the brother Starks, who is bringing the ICE Corporation into Chicago with these multi-screen theaters. And the brother never asked the only question I ever asked. If I see you tomorrow in a chrome wheel Mercedes-Benz with gold stripes and you got your Giorgio Armani's on and your Gucci shoes, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, where'd you get the money, brother? This brother interviewed this boy for an hour, and he never asked the question, where is the money coming from? Well, if I could have got on, and I couldn't, because, you know, the lands were busy with people asking basically dumb questions, I would have asked, where is the money coming from? And I'm telling you, never ask a question that you don't already know the answer to. Because if you ask a question and you don't know the answer to the question, you don't know what they're telling you. Well, I know the answer to it. That stocks, complete money, comes from white folks. Now tell me how you can be in charge of something if all the money belongs to white folks. I stopped at one of the complexes on 87th on west of Lafayette, and I asked the brother, sorry, he wasn't the brother, I asked the white boy who was looking through the transit that they, you know, they list that as he had to be real smart. He probably had a degree or something in order to run the transit. And I guarantee you, the youngest person in this room is that young lady sitting back there. I can teach her how to run one of them transits in 15 minutes. See, it's nothing but a land level. But I went up to him and I gave him his due respect because he was running that and he had the plans in his pocket, you know. That's all how they do it. And I said, I'm a contractor and I want to know how you get on this job as a contractor. He said, all the contracts have been let. Did you hear what he said to me? See, I already knew this, but I wanted to hear him tell me that because the brother is masquerading around as if he's running something. All the contracts had been let. Nothing on the job working but white people. But on our station, he was sitting up there being interviewed and making people think that this was his operation. Now I'm going to ask you, brother, that if you was in charge of something and you had 7 brothers, 16 cousins, and 25 other males in your family, wouldn't you have one of them working on a job that you had where you had 50 people working? Maybe you'd have half of them. If it was me, I'd have all of them. But the point I'm making is that this brother had no blacks working, but he was representing himself as that this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And the interviewer was going along with it. This is great. This is the best thing. We're going to have jobs. On the plantation in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Louisiana, every black there had a job. But even the slaves knew better than to think it was their plantation. Am I getting through to you? Because, see, this is kind of heavy for most people. They can't seem to make the difference between a lot of black people working somewhere and owning something. You see, if you go to the show out in Ford City, everybody working in that Cineplex out there is black. What's the difference between putting the Cineplex on 60th and Western and somewhere on the west side and the one right here by 87th and King? And your promise is, and we just, oh, it's so great, they're going to have black people working there. Why wouldn't they have black people working there? They ain't going to be paying nothing but the minimum wage. Do you hear me? Do you understand me? In the audience out there, do you understand what I'm saying to you? That Nahaz is talking to black people about ownership. The term legally is in fee simple, ownership. That means you own everything.